Welcome to Chapter 3, Patterns and Variables. This is Lesson 3.1, Describing a Pattern. So we see patterns absolutely everywhere. We see patterns in music. We see patterns in nature. We see patterns in fabrics, in clothing. Anywhere you look, you can usually find a pattern. So this chapter we're going to be exploring patterns and how to describe patterns. So your vocab for today are three: term, conjecture, and sequence. Please take a moment to pause this video, write those down in your math notebook. We are on page 108 if you need it. And when you are finished writing those down, come back and we'll go over example 1. So example 1, finding number patterns. Jacob is making a pattern of tiles. The first 4 designs are shown. How many tiles will be in the 5th and 6th designs? So here is the first design. Down here we have a table. This is called a table. And I have the design number and the number of tiles in that design. So here in design number 1, I have 1 tile. So my table shows design 1, tile 1. But here in design number 2, I have 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. So I show design number 2 has 4 tiles. Design number 3 has 1, 2, 3, I'll make little marks. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tiles. So design number 3 has 7 tiles. So we're starting to see a pattern here. My design number is counting by ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We don't have 5 and 6. We're going to have to make a conjecture about how many tiles will be in designs 5 and 6. So if I look at the pattern in my number of tiles, I see I start with 1 and then I go to 4. Well, that's an increase of 3 tiles. I'm adding 3. When I go from 4 to 7, I add 3 again. From 7 to 10 tiles, because if I count, design number 4 has 10 tiles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm also adding 3 tiles. So I'm starting to see a pattern emerge, that each time I move from one design number to the next, my pattern increases by 3. So therefore I can make a conjecture or a guess based on my pattern that my number of tiles will increase by 3 each time. So if I wanted to find the 7th, how many tiles? I would add 16 plus 3. So my 7th design would have 19 tiles. All right, example 2. Here we go. Sometimes we can use rules to describe patterns. A rule states the first term and an explanation of the operations you use to find the next term. So here in example 2, my problem states, start with 1 and multiply by 2 repeatedly. So 1 is my first term. My rule is to multiply times 2. Well, 1 times 2 is 2. Multiplying by 2. Sorry, there's my rule. I'm going to keep multiplying by 2. So to get to my next term, I'm going to multiply by 2 again. So 2 times 2 is 4. To find my next term, going to keep multiplying times 2. And 4 times 2 is 8. This pattern is going to continue as long as I want it to. 8 times 2 is 16. Find my next term. I multiply by 2 again. 16 times 2 is 32. And this pattern can keep going on, which is why we use the word repeatedly. I'm going to do the same thing over and over and over. So, this is my first term. Right now I have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms in this pattern. Each of those numbers, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, and 32, is considered a term. So if you are asked to find the first 6 terms, then you need to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. Okay? Now, if I was just going to write these as an answer, I would write 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, and box my answer. These are the first 6 terms in my pattern. Okay, so let's look at example 3. In example 2, they gave us the pattern and told us what number to start with. Start with 1, multiply by 2, find the terms. Here in example 3, they are giving us the terms and want us to find the rule. Okay, what is the sequence? What is the rule? How can you describe that? So, I know that I am decreasing because my numbers decrease going down the pattern. So I know that it's decreasing. I know that my first term is 14.7. So my rule start with 14.7 and decrease. But now I'm stuck. I don't know what I'm decreasing by. So I need to find what I am decreasing by each time. In order to do that, because I'm decreasing, I'm going to go ahead and subtract. So if I have 14.7 minus 13.4, I get minus 1.3. But in order to prove that it's a pattern, you need to find at least 3 consecutive differences. So then I take 13.4, subtract the next term, which is 12.1. And again, I get minus 1.3. Okay, so far so good. But I need to check at least 3. So I take the 12.1, subtract 10.8. 11 minus 8 is 3. 1 minus 0 is 1. So all 3 of these are the same. So there is my pattern. I therefore am starting with 14.7 and decrease by 1.3 repeatedly. That repeatedly tells me that I'm going to keep decreasing by 1.3 on and on and on. Okay? All right, that's it for examples. Please do your quick checks and see what you use, and we will go over this the next time I see you.